If you ever watch me during the news, you may have noticed, or may not, that I wear this little purple band. It says I get to. I got it from a very dear friend of mine, Denise Taylor, who is here with me today. I did not know what I get to meant when I first met her, and she's here to share that philosophy with you today. I'd like for you to meet her. Denise, hello.
Hi, Dawn.
It is such a pleasure to have you here today. I can distinctly remember when we first met and you shared with me, I get to. I ran directly home and got my sister and my mother together and told them about I get to. And we sat and we cried and everybody had to have a bracelet, and I have not taken it off. It's life-changing for me. And I want you to share it with everybody because I think it's a good way of thinking. I think it really opened my eyes. It's a hard story to listen to. She also has a book called Heavenly Birth by Denise Taylor. Hard to read simply because of the emotions in it, but you almost can't put it down once you do begin to read it. Let's start from the beginning. Can you tell them the story like you told it to me?
Sure. My daughter Janae was diagnosed with leukemia at the age of 12 in April of 2005. And I'm not sure why or how, but I'm very grateful that I heard an inner voice speak to me that day and say the only way that she was going to get through it was to find the one good thing when it was surrounded by so much bad. And what I've come to realize is that voice was telling me the only way I was going to get through it, because Janae fought leukemia for 3 years before she experienced her heavenly birth in June of 2008. So I got 3 years to be in that classroom of perspective and perseverance and learn how you find the one good thing, how you find the gift in the most unattractive package, and how you create something very beautiful and very positive out of it. And I get to share how I experienced that with Janae, through Janae, because of Janae, and because of this package of leukemia that many would kind of throw down and say, this isn't what I asked for. And the We Get To message is born of that. One of the tools that we embraced when I heard on a sermon on television one Sunday was not to say I have to, say I get to, was how do you do that? And Janae was getting sick with chemo one day in the bathroom and said, I hate this. And the child rarely complained. And words that were not my own, because I wanted to cry and say I hate this too, came out of my mouth and said, this is when we get to say that we get to have chemo. And from that day forward, Janae didn't say I have to get chemo, it was I get to have chemo.
Because that may have been the only thing that could have saved her life.
Right, right. So we realize there are people that are sick that don't have a diagnosis, but we do. We get to have chemo. There are people who have a diagnosis but no hope for a cure, but we do. We get to have chemo. We have insurance. We get to have chemo. We have a children's hospital, right? It just snowballed where we went from being victims and hating chemo to really being victors and embracing the fact with gratitude that we got to experience it. And I've used it in daily, smaller increments and in major increments. When we were planning Janae's funeral, and in my head I kept hearing I have to bury my baby. And I know the power of the get to. I know the power of perspective when you know how to shift out of it. So I prayed for God to show me the get to, and I heard right away that same voice say, you don't have to put her body in the ground. You get to release her spirit into my hands. And you get to because you're the one that got to be your mother. And truly, the sorrow and the weakness left, and I really did want to celebrate that I was the one that got to be her mother and that she is in heaven, and to focus on what's right and what's good, not what we're conditioned to feel is wrong and bad.
And so that's why you don't say it was her death. You say it was her heavenly birth.
Right. There are two choices at least in every circumstance, and one will be one that defeats you and makes you feel weak, and one is one that will empower you and make you feel positive. And so I've learned in a very natural way to look at what the positive perspective is in that situation. And life is a gift, and everything that we get to experience is a gift in that. So to say that I have to do anything, I have to go to work, I have to go to the grocery, I have to pick up my kids, all of these things that we're conditioned to complain about because we've kind of gotten into this trance of being mindless of the blessings. The get to is kind of the light that when you switch and stop saying I have to and start saying I get to, the light is shined on what that gift and what that blessing is, because if you wait until you can't do it anymore, it's too late to experience it and its grandness.
I'm trying to get to this enlightenment. I wear my bracelet to remind me. I'm not there because I don't know if I lost a child that I could be in that blessing. I think it would destroy me. But when I see you, I see that strength, and I see that God in you, and it amazes me. Now, Denise has the We Get To Foundation, which is now a 5013C. It's a nonprofit. She has a website there, and it is wegetto.com. You can find out more about it. She's trying to put a board together so that she can do wonderful things. One of the most wonderful things she does is Wacky Wednesdays, and I got a chance to follow her, and this is the story that I put together behind that.
These are fun. They spin when you walk. You know, laughter really is the best medicine. The side effects are great. There she is! And it's contagious, and that's what's going to heal us. What do you think?
That laughter has been part of a mother's love and a daughter's legacy.
We have a cart that's stocked with wacky hats and boas and glasses so that we can replace the sickness with silliness. Beep, beep. Happy Wacky Wednesday. Thank you.
It is silliness and faith that brought this wife and mother of 4 through the toughest battle of her life, her 15-year-old daughter's fight with leukemia.
Janae always chose joy over sorrow. She never wanted a pity party. She didn't want people feeling sorry for herself. And I've been blessed to have that same kind of mentality and spirit now. Did you see the dinosaurs?
Like this cool mask.
Now Denise continues a spirit of love and laughter her daughter left behind after losing her life to the disease June 9, 2008.
I really would rather choose to celebrate her heavenly birth than to mourn the anniversary of her death. I love the dinosaurs. Do you like
She
dinosaurs?
celebrates her heavenly birth and her spirit in life every Wednesday for the children at Kosare. It all started when her daughter was missing all the crazy activities at school. So Mom thought,
and it just occurred to me that we could get wacky wherever we are. I asked her if she wanted to dress me up, and she lit up like a Christmas tree, blacked out one of my teeth, threw on a unibrow, gave me crazy ponytails, and we created a different kind of day that week. You smack it.
Denise explains that positive attitude is everything she does now in her life.
When you realize that somebody would love to get to do what it is that you feel like you have to. So it transformed the burden into a blessing. And you can come out.
Denise says even the chemo was a blessing. They replaced the word I have to with I get to.
Whether it's waiting in traffic or going to the grocery or babysitting your brother, whatever these things are that we feel like we have to do, when the day comes that we don't get to do them anymore, it's too late to be in the moment and grateful for it then.
I truly, in my heart, hope that you understand the message that we're trying to give today, whatever it is, and you say, even if it's something that you would generally look at the worst thing in the world, there is an I get to in it.
Absolutely. The harder it is to say I get to, the more empowered you'll be when you choose. It's a workout muscles, or it's a workout for your gratitude muscles, what I call it. So the harder it is to get through, the stronger you'll be for having pushed through it. It's always that way.
All right. You know I love you.
I love you too, Dawn.
And
Thank you so
again,
much.
Denise is available for speaking engagements. You can go to wegetto.com to find that. And for every speaking engagement she is paid for, she donates a speaking engagement to a nonprofit or a school. And again, Heavenly Birth by Denise Taylor. We get to. And we get to take a break. We'll be right back.